to see and be seen, though Mira was that rare breed of Angelino who didn't need to be noticed. "Your mom doesn't think we're compatible," she parroted. "Right. I haven't met your mom yet." It had only been 3 months. They hadn't gotten to that step. Hema Auntie was a relatively modern kind of matchmaker, and she advised her clients to spend a couple months getting to know one another before bringing parents in. Partner, families, wedding. That was the correct order. "I've told her about you, as did Hema Auntie, of course, and she has all your information from your biodata. She was concerned from the beginning, but then she ran our star charts. Apparently, Hema Auntie input our information wrong when she had her astrologer look at us." "An understandable clerical error," she murmured. More like, Hema Auntie was eager to get Mira off her books, and she'd fudged the astrology results. If Mira believed in horoscopes and birth charts, she would have told everyone that hers was doomed from the start. She'd totally made up her birth time. It wasn't like she had a parent she could ask. A waiter interrupted them to place a plate in front of her, topped with a beautiful, frothy white cake. "I took the liberty of ordering dessert for you while you were in the restroom," Jay murmured. "To make the rejection taste sweeter?" She thanked the waiter, then lightly scraped the raspberries off the delicate cake. Berries made her throat itch. "Is this dairy-free?" "It is not, ma'am." "Oh, sorry. I forgot about your allergy." Of course he had. She put down her spoon. "Can I ask why your mother was concerned from the beginning?" Jay grimaced. It's not really important." "No, I'd love to know." Without too much conceit, she could say she checked the main boxes for most they see grooms' mothers. Attractive without being flashy, well-educated, had a good yet boring job that wouldn't overshadow their son, sensible, respectful. The fact that she was so unassuming and unobjectionable was probably the reason Hema had kept her for a client for as long as she had. "Well?" "She felt your background was rather mysterious." He hurried to add, "Of course, Hema Auntie wouldn't take on a client who wasn't from a good family." Unless the client was a family friend of people who had paid her the big bucks twice over already. Under the table, she curled her hand into a fist. There was that one box she'd never be able to check. From a good family. Not mysterious at all. My parents passed away and I have no siblings. I have an aunt who leads a nonprofit focused on educating young women in underserved areas of the world, so you don't see her very often," Jay finished. "I know. So you've said." She caught the hint of suspicion in his eyes and clenched her fist tighter. Oops. She'd grown too accustomed to the story. It had become rehearsed, and no one believed you when you got too comfortable. "Had an aunt," she said softly. "She passed away last month. Remember?" He had the grace to look uncomfortable. "Apologies. I forgot. You didn't seem that close." "We were close." Just because they'd talked only a couple times a year didn't mean she hadn't loved and grieved her aunt. Jay had been out of town that week. She'd cried herself to sleep the first night after she'd gotten the call from some authorities in Mexico. She'd cried again a few days later when they'd shipped her aunt's ashes to her. And again that evening when she'd laid her to rest, all by herself. By the time she'd picked Jay up at LAX, she'd been cried out and even more grimly determined to focus on her future. This is how you get thanked for picking a man up at LAX at rush hour a couple months into a relationship. For future reference,